how you doing? Well, it's not quite as bad as that, but I was hoping to be at a barn owl site tonight, one that I'd scoped out in the autumn and got some nice pictures there. But I went down there yesterday and the field is now full of these, and it's been shorn down to within an inch of its life, so there's really no chance that there's going to be any barn owls on there anytime soon. So what I've had to do is come back to one of my sites that I use quite regularly for badgers and fox cubs, and also there's barn owls up here, so there is a chance of all three or none at all. And I haven't been up here for a while, so it could be none at all, but we'll roll the titles. Right, so I'm not going to lie, coming up here today with really potentially 3 different species is quite difficult. I think my emphasis tonight is hopefully fox cubs, and with that in mind, that needs different kit to if I was coming up here to do barn owls or badgers. So if I was doing barn owls or badgers, I'd have heavier kit, so I'd have a big tripod with a video head on it. Now, because I'm wanting to be quiet today, I can't really carry around a big massive video head with a big sturdy tripod, so I've gone for something quite flimsy really. It's a carbon fibre tripod just with a normal video head. Obviously I'm carrying the vlog equipment, and just in this that I can sling around my back, and then obviously the A7R3 and the 200 to 600, so that's it. It's not ideal for the badgers, although to be fair with the badgers you can actually get away with just a 300 or even a 200mm lens if you get in the right position. Not going to be ideal for barn owls, but at least it will give me a chance with this on rather than a normal bull head. So that's the setup today. And as I say, it's sort of more of a stalking kit because I'm going after those fox cubs initially. So we'll see how we get on. That's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to head round and have a quick look round there, try and get the right side of the wind direction first, and we'll see what happens. Right, I've just got down into this little gully, so there's nothing around, so I'm all right to have a little quick conversation with you. So if we forget about barn owls and badgers at the minute, what I'm doing at the present time is looking for fox cubs, and there aren't really that many signs to look for, to be honest. Couple of tips I would give you is foxes like to use old badger sets as dens. So anywhere where you've got badger sets that aren't being used, potentially you could get a vixen using that as a den. The other signs that I look for is if you find an old den and if you find bits of bird wing and bone and things outside and it looks like it might be active, that's potentially what the cubs are bringing out to play with, the stuff that they've not eaten. So I always look for signs like that. And one of the other signs that you can see at this time of year is, imagine if you're a mum down in a small hole in the ground with 5, 6, 7 boisterous cubs climbing all over you. What you can find is that the vixens get fed up and they'll leave the youngsters down in the den and they'll just go and lie up on a bank somewhere, about not usually too far away, but just out the way because they've had enough. So I'll also be looking for that, which again is quite difficult because their senses are much better than mine and they will tend to see and hear me before I see them. So they're the things I'm looking for today, just any sign like that. I mean, the youngsters themselves, if they're out, they have very little fear early on, and obviously they need to develop that fear of people, but I've walked past them and they're just sort of staring at you out of the undergrowth, just looking at you as if, what are you doing there? So they're quite curious. So yeah, that if they're out, that's quite easy to see them, but other than that it can be quite difficult. So I'm going to have a scout around, hopefully it won't rain, and yeah, we'll see what we can find. Right, so I've just parked myself up probably about 20 metres, 30 metres away from where the fox cubs were last year. I don't know whether you can pick up on the microphone. That's one of my big problems around here, is the cows. I mean, these fields, I've been lucky. Last time I came up they were somewhere else, but obviously today they're making their way with the youngsters into these fields, so that'll make it doubly difficult. They don't particularly bother you, but they can just be a bit of a nuisance, because when they see you, they're obviously looking at you, they alert everything else to you being there. One of the things I would say is, when you're doing something like this, it's all very well walking around and seeing if you can see anything, but don't underestimate the usefulness of just finding somewhere to sit where you've got a good view of quite a big area, and just wait and sit down for a bit and not only see what you can see, but also see what you can hear, because sometimes you can hear the cubs squabbling amongst themselves if they're above ground, and that can give them away. But you also might see the parents. I know last time I came, I saw one of the parents coming across the field with a full-grown hare, and God knows how it was carrying it. Not sure whether it had caught it or whether it was some sort of roadkill that they'd found, but obviously if that doesn't see you, that's going to go in the direction of where it's taking it, is going to be more likely where the youngsters are going to be. So never underestimate just the value of just sitting down and just watching and listening. That's what I'm going to do now for probably about an hour, just sit here and see if I see anything. Hopefully these cows will see me and skedaddle back off in that direction, but you never can tell. And we'll see if anything comes along into this field. Catch you in a bit. Can you believe that? I'd only just finished recording that piece. I'd been sat there about 5 minutes, and a fox came into the bottom of the field at the bottom of the hill. I had to be really careful. Luckily, I think the wind is in my face up here, which was quite useful, but I've still made a rookie mistake. Well, I've not made a rookie mistake, but do you know when you have something? It's like I had a loose bolt on the car earlier today, on the door, and all it needed was just twisting to tighten it up about 3 turns. And every time I got out of the car, this bracket it doesn't hold the door on, but it sort of supports it, was rattling and making a noise. And I've ignored it for a month. And then finally today, I just went and got a screwdriver and thought, I'm going to tighten that up. And so I tightened it up, and now it's fine. So today, I just finished speaking to you, and that fox entered the field at the bottom. And as you can see from this, I've got some video of it walking across the field. I managed to get laid down because I was sat up. So as soon as it put its head down into the grass and was examining something, I managed to get lower down. Came all the way up the field. Now on my camera, I set my 1, 2 and 3 buttons. Number 1 is just for normal shooting. Number 2 is for birds in flight, and number 3 is for film. So I'd switched it to 3 to film, got the film. Switched it back to 1. And something that's been narking me for months and months and months is that when I switch it back to 1 from 3, it takes the camera out of silent shooting and into normal shooting. So the fox went all the way up the field and was walking back towards me this way, and I'm laid down with the camera. I switched it to 1, took 1 shot, 1 burst of shots, clack, 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 fox ran off. Whereas if I'd got it on silent shutter, there would have been no noise at all. And I thought I had got it on silent shutter because it was on silent shutter, but switching it from 1 to 3, and it'll be something that's quite easy in the menus to sort. And I've been meaning to do it, and when I get back tonight, I'm going to do it, because, that literally, I could have got a few more shots there. Not many, because I think, I can feel the breeze on me now, I think a couple more steps, and it would have smelt me anyway, because it came up and back behind me. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but what that's telling me is that there are some fox cubs more than likely in this area. And now it's just a case of working out where. I'm going to sit here for probably an hour now, just to see if I can hear anything other than these bloody cows. And yeah, but what a fantastic start to the evening. Yeah, it's nice when something happens on cue. How often does that happen? Not very often. So yeah, I'll catch you in a bit. Right, I've just had another fox at the bottom of the field. This one a male because it was marking its territory. And I think he clocked me or part of me or was unsure about something because he's disappeared into the undergrowth. And I've had this before, and what you have to keep your eye out for then is that if they're not sure about something, they'll duck under the undergrowth and they can appear anywhere else. They'll use the undergrowth to get round to a different position where they've got a better view, and they'll suddenly appear at the side of you or whatever, just checking you out to see what you are. Once they know what you are, then they'll skedaddle. What is making me quite nervous is to see two close to here. I'm wondering if I'm quite close to where the youngsters are. Possibly too close. So I'm not going to linger here too much longer, I don't think. I need to sort of retreat out of here and see if I can get a better position a little bit further away. I'm just a little bit concerned that if they are using the same den as last year, which I'd be surprised, maybe it's one pretty close, just a little bit further down or even a little bit further up behind me, I don't know. And I've sort of sat right on top of it more or less. I don't want to be hindering what they should be doing, like feeding the youngsters or anything, or getting back down into the den. So I'm going to give it another 5 minutes and then I'm going to retreat further up the hill, I think, and hopefully I can still see and get some idea of where they might be, but not cause any issues. I'm feeling a few drops of rain as well, which isn't going to help. So what I'll probably need to do is come back in full camo gear and get it set up. But it would be nice to sort of get a little bit better idea where they are today. But I've got a feeling I could be very, very close. And maybe the youngsters aren't even out the den yet. But as I say, I don't want to stop the adults getting back down in there. So I'm going to retreat out of here and catch hold of you in a bit, I think. I'm just making my way back to the car because it's tipping it down, so I think today's session's probably finished. If it's only temporary, I'll see if the barn owls are out on my way back, but I'm hiding behind this bush here because there's a hare down the hill. I'm in a terrible position, I can't get any pictures from here. He's quite happily eating away, but if I try and walk down from here, it's just going to be away. And there's no way I can get round, so my only option is I'll call it a belly slide down the hill. And we'll see how far I get, but I'm going to get wet through, so the things I do for wildlife photography, but yeah, I'm going to have to leave this lot here. I'll leave it behind this bush, and then it's just slide down the hill, and we'll see how close I get. Hopefully you can see I've set up now at the barn owl site. I've been here before, I've done a video from here before. I'll put a link up there to that one if you want to watch that, but it's quite tempting to stop where I've seen the two foxes because you know that there are going to be some cubs nearby, but after sitting there for an hour I can't hear any commotion and I've not seen any evidence above ground, so my feeling is at the minute is they're still below ground. They're still probably quite young, and as I say, I've got a feeling I was quite close to where they were, so I wanted to clear out of there as quick as I could. And I think for me now, what the situation is, I'll just keep checking back every sort of 4 or 5 days when I've got a chance. Just pop down there and have a look and see if there's any more signs, or you know, if I can sort of hone in more on that area. But I think at the minute I'd just be wasting my time. So what I've done, I've just come up to where the barn owls are, and I'm just going to have a look here for an hour. Hopefully, I mean, see, I don't even know if the barn owls have got young or whether they've nested this year. I'm assuming they have. I've seen one around the old barn area, so I'm assuming that they have. But you know, I've got no evidence that they're flying around here, and it was very, very difficult last year. Because this field, I've said this before, is only a small field, although it's only cut twice a year and it's cut for hay. There's never sheep or anything on it, so it is pretty ideal for barn owls dropping down onto stuff. It's only, it's not very big at all. So I think what happens is the owls will do a quick hunt round here and then they disappear down the hedgerows and down the roadsides. I just don't think it's big enough to hold them for long enough. If it was sort of 4 or 5 times bigger than this, I think you'd get maybe 20 minutes where they were flying over, but it just tends to be, they do one fly pass through and then they're gone. So yeah, for sort of owl photography, it's quite a short period. It's really just like waiting on a roadside and watching them fly down the road and then they're gone onto another stretch of road. So you don't really get that opportunity to get loads and loads of images or film, which is why I was hoping that other place would pan out, which obviously it didn't on this occasion. But it's worthwhile just, you know, I've done some useful stuff today. I know that the foxes are there. I don't know they've got young, but I've got a pretty good idea they have. So I just need to keep my eye on that one now. The badgers, when I was coming back, I didn't say actually because I got distracted by that hare, but the last couple of years there's been very little evidence on the nice side for photography that the badgers have been coming out there, and it's made it really difficult. As I was walking back through, it looks like there's been a lot of digging and activity on that side. So if we get nice weather where we've got lovely golden sun as it's going down, that bank side is ideal if they're coming out of there again. So that could be useful as well. As we get into June, get out there and do some nights up there, and hopefully they'll be coming out on that banking and we'll get some badgers in lovely golden light. But I'm going to wait here for an hour, see what happens, and then I'll head back to the car. So if we get any action, obviously, I'll get back in touch with you. Just going to swing the camera around. I think there's a fox behind me. It's right over near the banking. See if I can get some video. Just leave that running. He's a long way away. This is honestly, this is the trouble with here. You're looking for the owls on this side, and you've got foxes behind you. You've also got the badgers over here. He's a way away, and I don't know if you can tell the wind's blowing right in my face. It's quite strong. But he's not bothered about me at all. I don't know what he's doing. Absolutely incredible. Right, I think I've got another couple of minutes before the sun has gone completely down behind me. No barn owls as yet, and to be honest, this is one of the reasons I was looking for another barn owl site, is this is so sporadic. I think they have got youngsters this year, but just sometimes they just disappear in a completely different direction. Whether they're hunting down the roadsides or something, I don't know. So yeah, I will, if I can find another site, then I'll try and find one. I was really excited to see the foxes. I think I'm really close to where the youngsters were. I just don't think they're above ground yet, so I was glad I cleared out of there a little bit early. That's one to come back to and just keep my eye on over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure there'll be some fox cubs above ground. The badgers as well, I've got an inkling that they've moved back to coming over that banking out into the late evening sun. So if that's the case, again, over the next sort of 8 weeks, it could be really good for some badger photography in the nice evening light. And would you believe it, just as I'd packed everything away, apart from the camera and the tripod, I had a brief visit from the barn owl. It was a brief visit, but very welcome. Managed to get a little bit of film as it was flying around down at the bottom of the field, and then as it made its way up, I switched to taking some stills and got a couple of images, and then it was away. And then the light just disappeared, so it was time to head home. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see a video that's got some fox cubs in it, then take a look at this video up here. If you've not subscribed to the channel, then hit this button over here, and I'll see you next week for another one. Till then, bye.